Want to go ahead?
What are you looking for the last weekend of the season, kind of the last chance to fine tune everything?
I really think we need to start being better at making teams earn things. I still think we're giving up way too many, let's just say, chances against, which are leading to goals based on either a poor play with the puck or a poor decision. And all three zones, it doesn't matter. There's not one thing more than the other. I just look at the goals from this past weekend, and it was just another example of. I'm not downplaying what Northern Michigan brought to the table at all, because on Saturday they were really good, but we still, the goals they scored, if you look back, Eno had no chance to save them because we just, whether it's a 2-on-1 or turnovers. I mean, it's just crazy. So we're going to try to keep looking at that and keep stressing it and make teams earn things against us versus give them an odd man rush against or give them a turnover that ends up in our net pretty much every time.
So is it just, puck possession, taking care of the puck and just making smarter plays, or being less aggressive, or how?
No, I don't want to be less aggressive. I think that the aggressiveness is something that we want to be known for moving forward, and we're going to be known for moving forward. It's just making smarter plays. I mean, there's always time to be aggressive and time not to be, and that's just something that at this level we shouldn't have to be consistently saying don't do this and don't do that, because we're not asking anybody to reinvent the wheel. We're just that's a play you may want to back off there. That's a play you may want to ice versus make a soft play off the boards. Those are just two examples of what's happening to us in games that this past weekend ended up in our net. Our mentality on the penalty kill is to get the puck down the ice, not to fool around with it. What happens? We fool around with it, ends up in our net. So I think it's a combination of everything. The bottom line is it's executing. It's executing with and without the puck. And we're going to continue to stress execution. You listen to any coach at any level, they're using the word execution, if not 10 times in a talk, it's a few times, and we're no exception to that. And the frustrating part for me is we've been talking about the same thing since October, whether it be a decision, whether it be strong play with the puck, whether it be whatever, stick positioning. We've been talking about the same things, and we really need to start to see some strides and start to see some improvement in those areas, and what better time than now?
You expect to have Mark Rodriguez this weekend?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he seemed fine today in practice, and I think we've done the right thing and given him ample time to get healthy. And he said to me today that he felt like he was good enough to go Saturday, but obviously we weren't going to force him into anything. And so I think now he's had plenty of rest, and he had a good practice today. So yeah, we expect him.
What are your thoughts on Sloat and Rule this past weekend? How they played after missing some time?
I thought good and bad. There's times where I'd like to see him defend better. I think his plays with the puck are starting to get a little more simplified, which is what we want. But I still think he struggles defending at times. Jake showed some signs of being rusty, but he's a kid where you know where his heart is and you know what he wants. It's just getting him back in the swing of things. And so I thought they did fine.
Michigan State?
Yeah, I think Michigan State's a better team than their record. I was looking at I take that back. They're a better team than their standing, where they are in the standings. They've got 9 league wins, and so does Western Michigan, who's in 4th. So they're that close to being, you look at the drop-off is between 10 and 11, not 10 and 4. We've got 3 league wins. They've got lots of talent. Their goaltending is one that, I thought Palmisano was the guy, and then Yannikav's numbers seem to be really good. He's played 10 games and played as of late, so I'm not really sure who we're going to see there. The D-Corps has got some depth there, probably led by Torrey Krug, who's young, not very big, but very skilled, and plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. He's their captain. It seems to be their leader as a sophomore. And then up front is probably where they're the most dangerous in terms of depth. I think they're a team that if you fool around with the puck and aren't ready to make good hard plays with the puck, that they can hurt you. And they scored 6 on Alaska on Saturday. They've scored 7 on Miami before. You know, a team that we can't muster many goals at times against these teams. So they're a team that I think can hurt you and are very dangerous, regardless of where they are in the standings. And that's not just against us; that's against anybody. I've been a fan of Michigan State's team, and you know, I think they're going through some emotional time right now with, you know, Coach Comley's last 2 home games at Michigan State this weekend. It'll be senior night on Saturday night, so we'll be fighting some of those elements a little bit, which we have no control over. I'm expecting it to be a real competitive weekend, though. I mean, we're just like any other road trip. We think we've played some pretty good hockey on the road the last 4 games, with the exception of the 3rd period at Notre Dame. We had played 5 periods on that weekend, 6 periods at Western of pretty good hockey. And Notre Dame and Western have had some success against Michigan State. So if you put it, you kind of piece it together that way, and, you know, make you feel good about your chances. It's another weekend in league, a team we haven't seen, but a team that we know head-to-head we should be able to compete with. And what that means in terms of results, well, we'll see. But we're expecting a fired-up Michigan State team, and we expect a fired-up Bowling Green team. So regardless of 10 versus 11, I hope it's a good series of college hockey.
Any other injuries besides Rodriguez?
No, Kevin. You know, Rule seemed to get banged up today in practice again. I'm not really sure if it was the re-injury of what you had talked about with the head, or if it was something else. So that is a little concerning on a Tuesday. We're going to have to follow up with that and see what exactly got banged up. But other than that, it's just your typical last weekend of the year sore, and it'll be nice to get Rodriguez back, because he's been a pretty good spark of energy for us at times. So,
What's your goaltending situation looking like this weekend? Are you leaning toward Hammond or Eno, or is it going to play out this week in practice?
well, I think it's going to play out this week in practice. You know, I think right now Andrew's getting results and Nick isn't, and that isn't based on Nick's play. That's based on whatever. I'm not sure. I don't overthink situations like that, and we won't overthink them. You know, Andrew's had some success. He won the last game he played in, shootout or not. He still won the game, and Nick didn't. And that'll go into the decision this week in practice. Will, and I've been really happy with Nick's focus, even though it was kind of looked like Andrew's job there for 5 games or whatever it was. Nick's focus has been good, and he's been good in practice, and he's been competing for pucks and things like that, which is what we wanted him to do more of. So, you know, I think this week of practice has something to do with it, and the last 2 or 3 weeks has something to do with it, that combination together. So at the bottom line, how does our goaltending situation look? It looks solid. I'm excited the way it looks. One guy's going to play, and we're going to have confidence, whatever guy that is.
You have some thoughts on Rick Comley? What he's meant to
Well, pretty special guy for college hockey, and for a lot of those years for this league. You know, with Lake Superior, his time at Northern kind of being split between the WCHA and the CCHA, and now his time at Michigan State. You know, he's a guy for me that's always had the time of day, even though when I was an assistant, you know, hey Chris, how are you? I think he's got the big picture of college hockey in mind all the time, not necessarily just the school he's coaching for. Now that's a little bit harder for me, because I got into the assistant coaching thing when he was right at the end of his tenure at Northern. But I mean, he was the athletic director at Northern. I just think he's a guy that's got big picture in mind, and that's something that I needed to get better at, and still do. You know, you get so focused on your own deal and your own school and your own team. There's a college hockey body here that you have to keep in mind, and he seems to be a guy that always has the best interests of college hockey in mind. His impact at all 3 of those schools I know has been great, both on and off the ice in all 3 of those communities, and you know, he'll be missed. You know, that's best, you know, the way I can put it. To win a national championship at 2 different schools and do it, you know, in 2007 when the parity of college hockey was major. It's pretty impressive stuff. So, you know, I've got the utmost respect for Coach Comley. Again, I don't know him great, but what I know of him is pretty impressive to me.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.
Okay.